Hey toy fans, this is Rhythm Shift back again with another review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Lemon Tree LT-03 Purple Potato. Now a lot of you may be wondering, a lot of you who are not into Transformers may be wondering, what the hell is a Lemon Tree Purple Potato? Well, this Lemon Tree Purple Potato is a third-party version of the Transformers character Shockwave. Now I've been a Masterpiece collector for some years, and Shockwave is one of the characters that I have not really, to this point, I hadn't found a Shockwave that really made me think, hey, you know what, man, I really want to add that toy to my collection. I really wasn't happy with the Hasbro version, the Takara Tomy. There was one that did look promising, and I think that was called Quakewave. I can't remember who made it, but at the time I didn't purchase it. Is it Quakewave or Quake Blast? One of those two. That's what the figure was called. But when I was looking through, perusing TF Direct for any new figures earlier on this year, I found this guy, the LT-03 Purple Potato. And I was like, hang on a minute, Shockwave's got an alternate form? Yes, indeed he does. So basically what this Lemon Tree Purple Potato has done is it has taken the ship that Unicron gives Galvatron to, once Megatron is reformatted and Unicron creates Galvatron, Scourge and Cyclonus, Galvatron receives a new ship. This Shockwave turns into that ship from the movie. Now I thought that was extremely cool, because something that really never appealed to me, even as a child in the 80s, was Shockwave's alt form, which was of the laser gun. It just didn't really cut it for me, and then it wasn't something I could get excited over, which is probably why, as an adult, and I was looking for a Masterpiece version of Shockwave, I didn't really see much that really got me hyped. But now Shockwave turns into a spaceship, I'm like, okay, that can really fit into my world that I'm building, so I decided to pick this up. So here you've got the packaging. Packaging is decent. You see Shockwave on the side there, Shockwave on the front there, line art, which is pretty cool, and pretty faithful to the actual toy. And a line art of Shockwave's back there, and on the back you've got Galvatron's ship, some schematics, which is pretty cool. Now Lemon Tree isn't a company that I've used before particularly. I mean, I've bought Transformers from Takara Tomy, I've bought third-party KOs, I've bought from DX9, I've bought from X-Transbots, I've bought from Fans Toys. Lemon Tree is a new company to me, so I wasn't really sure how this figure would be, or what it would be like once I got it in my collection, but I took a chance, and here we have it. So let's take a look at Shockwave, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so here we have the Lemon Tree Purple Potato out of its box, and I've got it displayed at the moment in its spaceship form, and the reason for that is because this is actually really quite annoying to transform. So at the moment in my display I had him set up in this ship form from when I last transformed it, and as you can see, it looks really good, and the transformation is really a great feat of engineering in terms of what you can get in terms of changing its form from the regular Shockwave look. But the transformation is not very enjoyable. I mean, there's a lot of fiddly parts, and trying to line up tabs to get them to all fit in is a little bit annoying. So transforming this guy is a bit of a pain in the ass. And I want to point one thing out. So on the ship here, on the top side, now I've already put a Decepticon faction symbol on. I just had some stickers lying around, I put that on there. I think that looks cool, especially when it's in Shockwave mode. Now one problem I had in the transformation is that these tabs here, they're both, this tab's in down nice and flush, but this tab here, the tab is at a strange angle, and it doesn't actually fit into the slot, so I can't tab this in. And if you don't tab, this whole section in, this back section flops down, but I can only get it to tab in on one side. Now looking at the shape of the tab, I'm thinking I might have to do some work, maybe with a Dremel, don't know if you can see inside there, to try and make the tab more flat so it would fit into the peg hole in there. So that's a little bit annoying. A little bit annoying to say the least. tab in there. But other than that, I mean, it does look like the ship that Galvatron travels in Transformers, the 1986 animated movie. It's not too heavy. It comes with its display stand, as you can see, so you can set it up in its flight mode. I don't really think there's a... You can't really angle this very much, can you? Well, you can a little bit. You could have it angled. Well, that actually undoes the transformation. No. So you have to have it at that angle. That's kind of how it's set up to be. You know, there's some flight stands where you could either angle it up or angle it down. You can't really do that with this stand that's in there in the moment, but I'll mention this. These parts here, these thruster parts, you can actually remove these by taking them out. And there is actually a light up feature on this. Let me see if I can find it, because the light up feature is triggered by a magnet. Let me get a magnet. Right, so it comes with this piece here. This purple piece is a little magnet. You've got to be careful, you don't want to lose that. I don't know if there's any way to actually clip it onto the stand. Let me just see if there is. I think there might be. Because there's a port hole here. No, it doesn't clip on like that. But it doesn't clip on. See, because there's a hole. There's actually two pegs. Let's see if it, and that's too big. That's too big. Well, it's strange because there are actually, or there you could tab it on there to keep it safe, but it is very tight to get on there. So I don't know if I'll be doing that because it's going to be a bitch to get off now. We got it off, but yeah. Essentially, you don't want to lose this part. But if you did, you can just use any regular magnet to activate the light feature. So what you've got to do is you've got to put the magnet next to these thruster parts in a particular point, and it should come on. Let's see if the batteries aren't dead in there. Batteries might be dead. Nope, it's not coming on. Maybe I need to change the batteries. But what I'll do is I'll check that during the transformation process and see if I can get that working, because it should light up on these parts here. See, and that's annoying, it keeps flopping down. I tab it in, but it keeps coming out. That's because the tab's not that strong and both sides aren't tabbing in correctly. There, now both sides are in, that's better. It wasn't in correctly. Same with this side though, really, to be honest. You've got to line that up flush and then it will stay more secure. Yeah, that's how that goes. So yeah, there's a Shockwave Purple Potato in ship form, and as I said before, I do prefer this to the actual laser gun mode that he typically has, because this to me looks more intimidating. This could be, you know, Cybertronian warship. I just think this looks really, really cool. And let me get him transformed, and I'll check those batteries and see if they need to be replaced, because he does have a light up feature, which is triggered by the magnets. But yeah, I'm going to do the transformation off camera because it's a bit tricky. So I'll just get him transformed and we'll continue on with the review. Okay, so I'm just transforming this Lemon Tree Purple Potato Shockwave, and while I was doing it I decided to check the batteries to see if they needed replacing, and indeed they did. So the batteries had run out, but what you've got inside those thruster ports on the ship is this type of a little LED light, and if you hold the magnet to it, as you can see, it turns on. Now that's the part that should light up in the thruster parts and also in his head. So the batteries were dead, so you just use the magnet to turn it on and off like that, which is quite cool. There's no power on button or power off button. Now I'm going to put this back in the figure and continue to transform him, but before I forget to mention, the type of batteries that this figure takes are called 1s. They're little button cell batteries. They look like this. AG1 batteries, okay? So that's what this lemon tree purple potato takes. So I'm going to finish replacing all the batteries, and then I'll get him into robot mode and continue the review. Okay, so here's the Shockwave, which is the lemon tree purple potato third-party Shockwave figure, fully transformed. And what you get here is a very, very well articulated figure and a great looking Shockwave. So I'm very happy to have this in my collection now. What you can do is, first of all, let me start with this part. When you first get him out of the box, these parts here, this little long part here, see if it's coming up in camera, this long part here, this doesn't come installed on the figure. What you have to do is open up the arm. Let's see if I can open up the arm. Bear with me a minute. Just, how did I do this? This separates. Yeah, this separates here. What you do is you look on the inside here. You actually have to put this port into here, like that. So this part here, let me just demonstrate. This comes separate, and you're thinking, what the hell do I do with this? Well, you have to thread this through this part here, like that. And then you lift up the wrist and you install this part there, and then put the wrist back down, and that holds it in place, and you press this in. Now the instruction manual for this figure is really, really shit. So it's quite hard to figure that out if you don't know what you're doing. So I just thought I'd mention that, and you plug that back in there. If this works, what's going on here? So what's going on here? That goes. Give me a second. Just get this back in place. That goes up like that. Comes down there. This should now thread onto there. Right. So that's done. Okay. Now he also comes with interchangeable hands. So let's have a look here. He comes with these regular hands. You can just pull those off. Then you can plug in this. He comes with two of these gun barrel parts. They just plug straight on there. Or you can have him with both hands as well. So you've got some options there. He comes with either two hands or the gun cannon accessory part there. So you can do that. And also he you get these energy effects, which you can there's 4 of them. 2 of this type, 2 of this type. These can slot into each other, and then you can plug into his arm cannon to make it look like he's blasting there, which is really cool. He also comes with this metal type of coil cord, which goes from the backpack to him here, which is pretty cool. And that just connects there. Now he also has some light up features, which let me demonstrate. First of all, you've got the head, which lights up if it works. There you go. I changed the batteries out, and now he's as you can see, his eyes lighting up. There he goes. And it's really cool. It's a decently strong LED in an orange colour, and this really does make him look like Shockwave. I mean, that's what, particularly in the comic, you know, this is exactly how he looked. Now you can also activate the lights on the back parts here. Let's do that if we can. It's quite, oh, they're already on. There you go. You probably can't see it too well, but oh, you can on the camera. Yeah, they're glowing purple, which is great. That's a really nice energy effect. I always like LEDs on Transformers because it kind of makes them look a bit more alive. I prefer LEDs to light piping personally. But as I said, this coil comes from the cannon through to the backpack, but unfortunately this light doesn't travel through to light up the energy effect. It just lights up the backpack part here. So that's alright. I'm quite happy with that. Let's take a look now. Let's take a look now at some of his articulation. So let me wind this up a bit. Let's take a look at some of his articulation. So what you've got is a very well articulated figure. You can look left and right, up somewhat and down. Shoulders are ratcheted, so you can go all the way up. You can go out to the side that far. That's not a ratchet on the lateral movement, but it's a ratchet on the shoulder itself. Bear me. Let's put this on. He's got a upper bicep rotation there, elbow bend, which is double jointed, so you get a full bend on the elbow, which is great. That's that for the arms. Let me just show you the hand. He's got individually articulated fingers, four individually articulated fingers, and a movable thumb. So that's quite good there. Very good. He has a waist rotation, like that. Not ratcheted, but just friction joint on the waist. Now the legs can go forward that far, which is great. They can also go all the way back that far, so you can do the full splits like that. You can also, and those are ratcheted joints on the leg, not super stiff, but certainly enough. I think that's enough. You can do side splits like that, complete there, side splits. Now on the knees, he has a knee bend, which is single jointed but goes that far, which is more than enough. I mean, you don't, that I'm comfortable with that. It's great. Knee bend, single jointed knee bend. Then you can rotate the lower leg a little bit, but not too far. Well, you actually can go all the way with the lower leg rotation. My mistake. Goes all the way around. And then he also has feet which can move a little bit this way, and they can also be pivoted laterally like that. So articulation wise, you can do a great deal with this figure and get him into some very dynamic poses, which is great. And that's something that's for me, in my masterpiece collecting taste, that's a great thing to be able to do, because the 80s Transformers, what I didn't like about them is that they were so the articulation was just so lacking in, for the most part, in them. So I could never really enjoy them as much as I would have liked to when I played. So therefore, now that these masterpiece Transformers are being made, especially with all the third parties chiming in and everything, these are the Transformers that I always wish I had as a child. You know, they look the part, and they so I'm just straightening this out. They look the part, and also you can put them in great poses. So let's get this pose set up here. I see what's going on there. It's coming untapped. What can we do about that? Okay, we can do that. Great. So there, that's a pose. If we get him. Let's put him up. There we go. There we go. So there you have it. Shockwave. Let's do a 360 on him. Bear me the second. There. So that's the Lemon Tree Purple Potato Shockwave, and I must say I'm very happy with this purchase. First of all, as I said earlier on in the review, Shockwave is a character that I wanted, but I just couldn't find a version of him that really made me think, yeah, I really want to add this guy to my collection. I wasn't happy with the Hasbro version. The Quake Blast looked decent, but I never got him in time. I think they sold out. So now, having this guy, I think he really fills in that position in my. He really fills the gap in my MP collection that was missing in terms of Shockwave. So I'm very happy to have this. Pros are that the robot mode looks like a perfect Shockwave. The cons are the transformation is very tricky, but when he's in the out mode he does look good, but it's just very, very tricky to get there. So it's not really a very enjoyable transformation process. In order to do this, I had to resort to some online transformation tutorials, because another fault of this figure is that the instruction manual is absolutely terrible. You know, you're not going to be able to transform this guy without some aid from video tutorials, because the instructions are just completely awful. But I'm going to do a quick comparison with some other MPs so you can see how he scales, and then I'll conclude the review. Okay, so to conclude this review I'm going to do a few comparisons, but first of all let me I forgot to measure Shockwave. So he stands at Yep, about 9 inches tall, which is great. So that's a great height for Shockwave. And let's do some side-by-side comparisons here. So let's get him compared up with the big boss himself. Got Megatron. Here's Megatron. Now Megatron stands at about 10 inches tall, I believe. Same height as Optimus Prime. Yeah, I think that's about right for Megatron. But here's how he looks next to Shockwave, and I think that's a great scale. Let me zoom back a bit. Bear with me. There you go. That's a bit better. There we go. Yeah, so Megatron's slightly taller than Shockwave, as he should be, because Megatron is the Decepticon leader. So I think it's good to have him quite imposing over the other characters. But it's great. This is a great scale contrast, because I remember in the early Marvel comics, Shockwave was quite a threat, and there was a great story arc where he was challenging Megatron's leadership. Because I think in the cartoon, Shockwave really wasn't very well realized character, in the sense that hang on, I'm going to do this. Bear with me. It should be better to do it this way. Shockwave wasn't really that very well realised as a character. I mean, he had very little character development, and he's basically shown as being super obedient to Megatron, whereas in the Marvel comics he was shown as having his own ambitions, and he actually challenged Megatron for the leadership of the Decepticons. And I think that was a great plot arc, because Shockwave was always dealing with logic. You would always say it is only logical, so on and so forth. So he was a great character in the Marvel comics who was a real threat. So I liked his appearances there. Now we're going to get another Decepticon in the shot, if I get that right. There we go. So let's put Starscream in the mix, who I guess these three represent the upper Decepticon command. So that's how Starscream looks along with Megatron and Shockwave, and I think that is a great scale altogether. Now the versions of these figures I've got, this is the Yes model version of Starscream, and I've added the Toy Hacks decals to make him look more like the G1 Starscream, because that's the kind of look I'm going for. And the Megatron I have here is the this is the MP36 Megatron in silver KO version. So all three of these figures that I'm showing here I picked up off of TF Direct, which is my #1 go-to place to pick up my Transformers whenever possible, because they're a really great site. I can't recommend them highly enough. So that's how these three look together. And I also want to point something else out. I mentioned that I put a faction symbol on Shockwave here. As you can see, got the Decepticon logo on the chest. I think that really completes the figure. That really takes me to the next level, I think, personally. So how does he look against an Autobot? Let's take Starscream out. And let's see how he scales with an Autobot, if I can find one. So I've got my smoke screen here. I'll just get him a bit dusted off, because he's been a bit dusty. Right, so here's my MP, is this MP 18 or 19, I forget, or 17, but here's Smokescreen, and I'll take Megatron out of the mix too. Now Smokescreen is I suppose a regular size Autobot, because the Autobots generally were smaller than the Decepticons, but I like that because it makes it look like they're more of a threat to Decepticons, and the Autobots having to work twice as hard to match them. So this is how he looks scale wise with MP Smokescreen. MP Smokescreen is what, maybe 7 inches tall, 6 inches, let me see. Smokescreen stands at, yeah, just under 7 inches tall. So that's how they scale, and I think that's brilliant. I'm really happy with this figure, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking to add an affordable Shockwave to their MP collection, because I think it really surpasses the Hasbro Takara Tomy MP Shockwave, and also I prefer the out mode in this. It's difficult to get there, but once you do, it's quite satisfying. So yeah, that's my review of the Lemon Tree Purple Potato, which is a MP Shockwave third party mashup with the Transformers, the 1986 movie Galvatron ship. Bit of a long-winded title, but that's what you're getting with this figure. So yeah, I think I've gone over all of his accessories and all of his functions, and yeah, I'd highly recommend him, and I'm happy to have him in my collection. And the LEDs, the lights, they just finish it off perfectly, man. So that looks great. And yeah, so that's the review. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to move on to the next one, and as always, I'll catch you on the next video. Until then, take care.